everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Courtney Ryan, and in this video, we're gonna be talking about things that men should stop and start doing by 30 or at 30. There's some pretty bad advice out there for young people, if I can be candid. I see it every time I get on social media, and so I thought it might be nice to offer up something different than what you might be used to hearing. I'm gonna be alternating between things that men should stop and then start doing. 30 is the number I'm using here, but regardless of your age as a viewer, I think this advice can be helpful and better to implement sooner rather than later. So the first one here is to stop breaking the promises that you make to yourself. Stop making excuses, stop getting distracted and betraying yourself, and start getting serious about developing into the person that you want to be. Focus on progress and steps that you can take to reach your long-term goals. If you let your excuses and distractions lead the way, you're gonna make your journey so much more difficult than it needs to be. Start taking action and changing your mindset. I want you to keep the promises that you make to yourself. Now, if you were going to ask me how to improve your confidence, the first thing or the first step here that I would give you is to keep the promises that you make to yourself. This was so incredibly life-changing for me, and I think that it could really be for you as well. The reason being because this is how you build trust with yourself. When you trust yourself, it's going to boost your confidence and your self-esteem. You begin to genuinely feel good about yourself. Keeping the promises you make to yourself builds confidence by strengthening your self-trust and your integrity. When you consistently follow through on your commitments, you're going to demonstrate to yourself that you're reliable and you're capable of achieving your goals. This sense of trust in your own abilities and integrity can significantly boost your self-confidence and your self-esteem over time. If you tell yourself, when I get off work tonight, I'm going to go to the gym and then come home and cook myself a healthy meal, do it. You'll feel so much better if you follow through and make those commitments to yourself. This is just one example. This could apply to so many other areas of your life as well. But you really want to build the foundation for your life and set yourself up for success. So I want you all to start keeping those promises that you make to yourself and stop making up excuses. You know, if you're making the excuse, I don't have time to eat healthy or to work out, going out to dinner takes 2 hours. A simple meal at home can take 20, 30 minutes. You know, people spend hours watching Netflix, but going for a run would only take 20 minutes. So I think it's really about prioritizing and, again, keeping those promises that you make to yourself and not allowing yourself to fall into the habit of making excuses. The next thing here is to start implementing a health routine. Emphasis here on routine. You're not getting any younger, and this only becomes more difficult the longer that you wait. Take care of yourself from the inside and out. And the reason I say to implement a health routine is because this is going to add structure and have it sort of become your normal. Now, society's version of normal isn't necessarily what I would personally be striving for at this point in time. I think as a society, we have normalized so many unhealthy and unhelpful habits, being sedentary, eating too much processed food. I mean, I could probably make an entire video about this, but for the sake of keeping things short and sweet here, I think so many things have become normal that are actually incredibly unhealthy. So if you're looking for my advice on where to start with a health routine, I would say ensuring that you have the basics in order and making this a non-negotiable part of your routine will make it so much easier to stick to them and keep these positive habits going for the long haul. So some of my starting point suggestions would be to lift weights and build muscle while it's still a little bit easier to do so. This is going to really help with your longevity and your quality of life. Secondly, here I would say eat whole, unprocessed foods. Stop eating junk. Next, move your body. Don't be sedentary. Even walking. I think this has been one of the most impactful things for my health personally, both physically and mentally. And then developing a sort of healthy hygiene routine. So your oral health, dental hygiene, your hair, your skin, just really making sure that you have those healthy hygiene habits in order. This is going to not only help you look your best, but also feel your best, which is really important too. Now, one thing you absolutely need to start doing by 30 is implementing a quality skincare routine, which you can do with the help of today's sponsor, Tiege Hanley. Too many men aren't doing this, and it legitimately only adds a few minutes to your daily routine. So start making it one of your positive habits. Tiege Hanley simplifies this process. They provide you with all the products you need and nothing that you don't. I recommend you start with their level 1 system, which comes with all of the basics: a daily face wash, an exfoliating scrub, an AM moisturizer with SPF 20, and a PM moisturizer. You need to be using a sunscreen, so having a moisturizer that includes it makes it so much easier for you. This isn't something you want to put off because prevention is key. Your future self with skin that looks better than every other guy who didn't take my advice in their 20s or by the time they were 30 will be thankful. Tiege wants to make it a no-brainer for you to get started on your skincare journey. And because Tiege is sponsoring this video, they're offering you an amazing deal. Just click the first link down in the description to get 40% 10% off of your first skincare system and a free gift. Plus, as a member, you'll also get 20% off for life. One of their newer gift options is the silicone body scrubber. I use one of these instead of a loofah, and it is far superior. So click that first link down in the description and get started on your skincare journey today. Now, this is going to look different for all of you depending on where you're at in your health journey, but the point that I want to drive home here is just to start. You will thank yourself later. You have one body. Please, please, please take care of it. And a huge reason why I mention this one is because usually when I talk to someone who's a little bit older than me or significantly older than me, I'm 28 just for reference, one of the common things that people say is, I really wish I would have taken better care of myself when I was young because it would have made getting older so much easier. So that is why I bring it up and sort of have it as this 30-year-old benchmark. I think as you get older, it becomes significantly more difficult to do so. It's absolutely possible to still do so, but what I'm trying to say is the younger you start, the easier it is. So after you finish watching this video, go for a walk, go work out, start your health and wellness journey now. I promise you will thank yourself later. The next thing here is to stop being stuck in victimhood and sort of echo chambers of victimhood. Victimhood is a dark and dangerous place that you do not want to stay. It is not helping you and propelling you forward. It is quite literally keeping you stuck in a place that you probably don't actually want to be, whether you realize it or not. Now, we all have different starting points, and I feel like I need to acknowledge that. But by this point, say at 30, as the video title suggests, you've made enough of your own choices that where you are at right now is going to probably directly reflect those choices that you've made. And you have the power to stay there or to completely change your trajectory. Your life is in your hands. Nobody can do it for you. And I don't say that to sound harsh, but I think some of you really need to hear this. Your mindset is so important. If you constantly play the victim or blame other people for things, you will never be happy or grow as a person. And I don't want that for any of you, because what a sad life that would be. And a victim mentality causes feelings of complete powerlessness because you fail to see that you, in fact, do have control over your life. If you have a lack of personal responsibility and a tendency to blame external factors for your circumstances, this is not going to help you. This approach can completely hinder your personal growth, your resilience, and the ability to overcome challenges in your life, which is ultimately going to impact every relationship in your life, career, and your overall well-being in a negative way. Included in this point, and why I said echo chambers of victimhood in the beginning, is consuming content that just reinforces your victimhood and doesn't actually lead you towards growth or taking accountability. That type of content is keeping you stuck. Recognize if this is something that you're doing and make some positive changes. It will change your life. The next thing here is to start paying attention to red flags and incompatibility. It is time to stop putting on those little rose-colored glasses and start seeing things for what they actually are. If you're someone who is serious about wanting a healthy, long-term relationship, you have to do yourself a solid and be able to recognize incompatibility. This is the most important decision you will ever make in your life, so please, please, please choose so wisely. Marriage can lead to your greatest successes or your greatest downfalls depending on who you choose. Now, regardless of the reasoning behind you ignoring red flags, the outcome is never positive when you do. Ignoring red flags when you're dating can lead to negative consequences or even potential harm to you physically or mentally. Red flags often indicate underlying issues or behaviors that can be detrimental to a healthy relationship. Keep in mind that red flags don't necessarily mean that someone is a bad person. It just might mean that this person isn't good for you. Red flags can really just be a sign of incompatibility. Now, a rule I like to suggest is the following. If you wouldn't marry the person as they are right in front of you with no improvements or no changes, you shouldn't marry them. I think a huge part of dating is also understanding your values. I think if you know what your values are, it makes it much easier to walk away from people who don't align with that. My next thing here is to stop relying on alcohol to have fun, to cope with life, to fit in, to be social. You don't need alcohol for any of those things, and if you do, there's a deeper rooted issue here that needs to be addressed. I don't drink, and it is one of the best life and health decisions I have ever made for myself. It's more widely accepted to drink than not to drink, and I know this firsthand as someone who doesn't drink. Alcohol is basically the only drug you have to explain why you're not using it, which is just insane to me. I do think people are slowly starting to wake up to the negative effects of alcohol on the mind and the body, which has been incredibly refreshing for me to see. Now, if you want more info on this whole topic from a professional, totally get it. An Instagram account that I highly recommend following is doc__Anya. Amen. I will include a little screenshot of his profile here. He's a psychiatrist who changes people's brains and lives. And he talks a lot about alcohol and the effects of alcohol. And I've learned so much from following this account. So highly recommend. Again, if you want a more scientific, professional opinion, I'm simply sharing my opinion as someone who doesn't drink and who definitely reaps the benefits of that. Many people use alcohol as a way to cope or to numb themselves from facing the realities of life. It also becomes a full-blown addiction for many people as well. It's horrible for your brain, causes a lack of judgment and control over yourself. It's incredibly expensive, and it can ruin your life. I've seen this happen firsthand to people that I love and care about very much, and honestly, it's just devastating. So my recommendation is to get a handle on this when you're young so that it doesn't snowball into a bigger problem for you as you get older. And again, I think this is one of those things that gets more difficult and you become so much more reliant on it the longer that you do it. And if anything, I like to mention this in my videos and share this about myself so that maybe you just feel less alone if you don't drink either. Or maybe I influence one of you not to drink or to get help that you need. Even if mentioning this helps one person out there, I consider that a success. And lastly is to start understanding the impact of your circle. You are the sum of the 5 people that you surround yourself with the most. Take a pause here to really think about who those 5 people are for you. Now, when you're young, you don't necessarily have the freedom to be so picky about who you're around the way that you do when you're an adult. As you start to move on to different chapters of your life, the people surrounding you can either make your situation better or worse. Your circle matters. Surrounding yourself with the wrong people can impact your decision-making, your values, goals, and can potentially lead to long-term consequences. There's a little saying that I like to share that goes, surround yourself with 5 smokers and you could be the 6th, or surround yourself with 5 fit people and you could be the 6th. If you surround yourself with people who inspire you or make you want to be better, your life is going to start to reflect that. But the opposite is also true. Your diet is more than just what you eat. It's who you choose to be around. It's the content you consume and so much more. So be intentional with your life and with your time. I know it can feel kind of intimidating to make new friends as an adult, but it can also be incredibly rewarding. Try to meet new people who share your values, who share your goals, maybe through networking opportunities, a hobby, an interest. It is never too late to surround yourself with people who are aligned with you on things that truly matter. And again, this can drastically improve your life, and I say that as someone who has done this firsthand. So guys, that's all I have for things that men should start and stop doing at 30. If you liked this video or found it helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to be in the loop for when I release new content. I'd also like to say that all of this advice absolutely applies to women as well. A reason for me wanting to make this video is because I turned 29 in December, which means next year I'm going to be 30. And I took a look at my 20s and really tried to pinpoint some things that I think made the biggest impact for me, and just the things that I think have made my life more positive or made me more successful. I also thought about the men in my life, and I observed some of the things that they've done or reshared some of the wisdom that they've passed on to me. My husband, my dad, my uncle. I've learned a lot from the people in my life, whether it be because of things that have made them successful or mistakes they've made. And these type of things really help me, so I hope that it helps you too. If you haven't already, be sure to follow me over on Instagram at Courtney Christine Ryan. I love connecting with all of you guys over on there as well. Let me know down in the comments, do you agree? Do you disagree? What are some other things that you would recommend for men and women? I would love to hear some of your personal experiences and words of wisdom that you would love to share down below. I could have included so many other things on this list, but I wanted to keep it relatively short. So let me know down below what other recommendations you have. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.